Welcome back to Yildiz Readings 5D. We're here to do your zodiac sign update and what I see coming through in the stars for you. If you do want this content ahead of the crowd, you can get it through our YouTube membership. And yes, we do host this via various platforms. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at the big transits that are happening, and we will cover inside your zodiac your love, career, wealth, wellness, and anything else I see that can be popping off for you this month. Now, as we do move into the month, we are going to be having the two moon phases. Eclipses do come in sets. So by the 5th, we are having the eclipse in Scorpio. It's going to be at 15 degrees. And the next moon phase is going to be a new moon in Taurus. And by that stage, Mercury will be shadow direct, which I will discuss inside your zodiac signs. Pluto also is moving retrograde. So it'll be gearing up ready to do that. What could we say? Reflection upon that area. Pluto also is going to be bringing out the shadow energy, the secrets, and really the dynamics happening in that domain, because it is the introduction to this. It's its first retrograde in the zodiac sign, which it will later on dip into Capricorn. So we really will be looking over those areas, and I'll dive into it as well as the eclipse. So for the first 2 weeks, it can be quite challenging because not only do we have Mercury still in retrograde, Jupiter also by the 16th is exiting the sign of Aries and entering into Taurus for its new cycle. So those things we shall unpack. It can be a lot. So I would say really trying to navigate the first half of the month is going to be a little bit testing. Doesn't mean to say opportunities can't come towards us. When we do have a retrograde, you also do tend to find that things are moving at a lot faster rate. So really crossing the T's and dotting the I's, there's sort of that mid-month cleanup effect, and things tend to make a bit more sense by the time we get to that. We can also have blasts from the past and really reviewing value senses. And I think Jupiter's going to aid in this, but we're going to have courage to move through and look at how these things are traveling. At the moment, we do have Venus in the house of Gemini, which can be an interesting dynamic. It can be, socialization, communication, the things we like in a Mercury nature, and currently Mercury is retrograde. So within connections and socialization, that can be crosswise. It's better off with the first 2 weeks of May to go into any social activities quite fluid. If I can be there, yep, I'll be there with bells on. If I can't, there can be, especially with travel, there can be you lost documents, delays, frustrations around that circumstance and miscommunication. So making sure you're organised and trying to be as flexible and as patient as possible. We also, within connections, can find with the placement of Venus and Gemini is that codependency simply won't fit. It can be there's control-related dynamics that come up, and there can be this detachment, but a lot of intellectualism that we'll need within a connection. As we do move to the 7th, however, it is shifting into the house of Cancer, and it can be more heart-centered. It can be more understanding, nurturing, a lot of creativity coming to the surface. Fertility can be at an all-time high, and that can come through in particular zodiac signs. We also can be very sensitive. It's not that it's a negative thing. It's more that there is an opportunity where if we're in a toxic environment, we can be oversensitive, or we can enable a situation to a degree. So we need to be quite aware of that, but I will discuss it inside your star signs. Mars is sitting in the house of Cancer currently as we speak. By the 20th, it will be transitioning over to the house of Leo, which is probably a better position for it to be. Mars in Cancer is deemed in its detriment. So Mars is that, go. It can be quite obsessive. Sitting in the house of Cancer, it can be around our environment, our home, our children, our inner feelings. Sometimes we can give our power away, and then we can be overzealous and domineering. So it's not really deemed as in its highest octane, but we did have Mars sitting in the house of Gemini from last year, August. So, even though it moved into a sign that it's not directly comfortable in, we still did really need that break with it being in the house of Gemini. So I think all of us were like, okay, let's just jump in and deal with this the best we can. Now, for your star signs, let's get into yours, Virgo. For the members, I did promise to give the earth signs and particular zodiac signs ahead of time because I did run a bit late. So let's take a look at your zodiac sign and what I see coming through for you. Now, with our moonology, we do have, as I mentioned, the eclipse in Scorpio happening at the beginning of the month, 5th. So we're going to feel this as soon as we enter the gate, as well as Pluto will be in its retrograde. The subject areas for you that are going to come up in the initial stage of the first pocket of the month can be a lot of reflection happening with your wellness, with your diet, with your routine and structures. And I feel you're really going to be reforming them. With the eclipse, there can be, again, there is an opportunity for some information to come towards you. This can be to do with it linking to your third house. And I will link it to various areas of your life. But at a collective level, it can be some information coming in. It can be rewiring a routine, can be checkups. And especially because your zodiac sign is linked to Mercury, you will need to look after your wellness, which I'll get into further in this update. I do particularly feel it can be contracts, conversations, vehicles, technology, paperwork, reviewing contracts. This can also be within personal commitments. But I definitely feel the things that you're doing in a day-to-day are going to wrap up, and you could be changing directions altogether. For some of you, this could link to your career. And it's going to be in a myriad of locations. So even though it's your third house, it's going to pop off in different ways. How you relate to your love life, how you relate to your career, your wealth and your wellness. And I do particularly feel throat chakra came through for you, something chronic. So pay attention to that. It's a signature from the universe. So in this time, there can be some information. I do particularly feel your thought processes, psychology, how you deal with your diet and your routine, and making bold decisions can come to a head. This can be a very important conversation for some of you. And your day-to-day routines and what you negotiate upon is going to set the tone for the next 6 to 12 months. 6 to 12 months. If you were waiting on some information, this can be the wrap up. But again, signatures of eclipses can hold a time frame. So knowing that we are shifting nodes later in the year, it can be a circumstance that is coming to a head. This could come through in a conversation. It could come through in a contract or some piece of information coming to you, and maybe even your viewpoint of a circumstance. What I do have to say is it's almost like the final bell. So something's coming to a head, something's changing in your life. It is going to set the tone, and we can have a little bit more of a window, which is the 6 to 12 month mark. By the time we reach July, the nodes will be shifting. So this effectively is a wrap-up zone, and it can be quite a tense part of the month. As we do move further into the month, we are having Mercury direct by that stage, and also the new moon in Taurus. It is at the critical degree point, so it is going to be something quite large, as well as the fact that Jupiter will be sitting in the house of Taurus. For you, this can be sudden travel. It could be subjects to do with marriage, spirituality. It could be a launch of a business. Definitely, I see this also to be a possibility of maybe training individuals, educating, blogging, and definitely with a change around, it's going to be an increase. So it can be really connecting with spiritual gurus, other people, other people's cultures, and your likes and dislikes. It's really expanding. So your horizons are going to be expanded here. Where it does come to business ventures, it can be a positive situation. Where it does come to your spirituality or maybe renewing a contract, it could be a physical marriage. This also can be quite a positive signature. Nevertheless, the 9th house can be religion, values, spirituality. It can be foreign travel. This could be a contract that you're directly looking at. It can be a spiritual ceremony. What else? Education, and advertising. So look for those signatures that come through. Now, your love life, we do have Saturn at the moment sitting in your Venus house. Mercury also being retrograde, what you can find is this month there are opportunities for blast for the past. Now, if you're currently in a relationship, it's also where you are going to go down memory lane, and you can be really reviewing your values, and it can feel to a degree that there are opportunities to move forward, but you also can be reworking the very foundation that it stands on. It's almost like a pressure cooker test, but it doesn't mean it has to fail. But it's really going to show you the signature of, what the foundation is built on, what the value systems are. There could be discussions of taking the connection to the next level. There could be subjects to do with family that are coming up that could be causing a little bit of angst. I also feel you, within your purpose of knowing whether you're coming or going, you can feel a little bit off. And I would say that would be to about mid-month, and then things can tend to settle down a bit more, and there can be more of a direct guidance in that. Those of you that are single, I also see this to be quite a positive time, even though spiritually you may be feeling things are all up in the air. I would really recommend for you not to be in your mind, really getting to a point where if you have something on your mind that you're articulating it with individuals, be it single or couple. Mars transiting Leo later in the month can have you up in your head. It also can make your dreams come true. So try and be open to that. The other thing I can say is needing to take care of your stress levels, what you do versus another. Maybe some tension points coming up with how to navigate the situation moving forward. But I definitely do see there are lovely romantic opportunities and lots of social situations that are set to come your way. There can be a big goal that both individuals are setting, and especially for those of you that are single, you can be really attracting an individual in that is quite like-minded. Now, your career is set to really move very quickly. Even though Mercury does tend to mess with you, you may need to be quite patient through this. Advertising later on in the month, especially for those of you that are running home-based businesses, can be quite positive. There can be travel. There can be documents that you're trying to organise, paperwork to a degree, which can be a little bit tedious to the mid-month mark. But a lot of these creases that we're ironing out are really going to set the tone and provide a great deal of wealth for you moving forward. Some of you can be taking on more superior positions or deciding to upskill. For some of you, there could be travel involved within your employment, and it can look two ways. One of it can be via social media. One of it could visit and dealing with maybe foreign trade, or dealing with the analytics of maybe customers that are coming in that are multicultural. The other can be that you physically travel for work. So take it where it lands. If you were dissatisfied with where you were currently working, this can be the month that you are deciding what to do. If you are going to put resumes out, the best time would be, I would say, the first week. Do such after the eclipse, get all your paperwork in order and put your resumes out. And there can be windows of opportunities, but I definitely see lady luck on your side, especially with creative ventures. It's not necessarily the best time to launch until the end of the month, if possible, or mid-month. Wait for Mercury direct, and I think that would be a better time if you were going to do such. Negotiations also, you can be looking at different ways to generate income streams, and this can be through side hustles. This could be through really transforming, especially as we do get on later into the year. You're going to be really looking at different ways you can attract cash. That can be, for those of you within a physical partnership or a contract, a renegotiation of that. And it's going to be something that's more stable and consistent, but that's really what you're going to be looking for. So how could that look? That could look like sundries. It could look like investments, portfolios, romantic interests, money. Something in your income stream is going to be shifting. I would say, especially if you can be cautious with crosswise, that's really going to aid you. And be very cautious with crossing the T's and dotting the I's and not getting into trouble, especially during Mercury retrograde. Now, wealth does have lady luck on it, and the stars are really shining on you. I would say it's more towards mid-month, but this can continue through. I do directly feel you can have some anxiousness about it, and your mind could be on overload. So where you can, if you can journal down the things that you're concerned about, the things that you need to address, there can be some wealth that is actually spent on health. I also see for some of you, to drop of a hat, you might have some expenses where it does come to maybe a contract, a partnership, a business enterprise. For some of you, it could directly be travel as well. Now, the other area this can be coming through is wellness. This could be a home environment. It could be a subject to do with a pet. That's more on the lower octane. Some of you could actually purchase a pet. But this will be a time to actually care also for their health and their wellness. The other area I see coming through quite positively is it could be lady luck with lotteries. I wouldn't say go to extremes with it. Always, use your P's and Q's about such in moderation, but there could be some signature of lady luck there. Some of you could receive a gift, but I also see with your wealth creation by mid-month, this can be streaming through quite effectively. Your wellness, this sign, especially during Mercury retrograde, you're going to have to care for it quite a bit. I do particularly feel with Pluto retrograding, anything that is hidden, if you needed to get updates, if you needed to get checks, this would be the time to do such if you feel something is off. I also feel from your throat chakra, really caring for your wellness, doing things that are quite good for your body, keeping your stress levels down, being very organized, doing journaling if you can articulate, really pouring it out what's frustrating you so you're not holding it in, because as we know, it's the old saying goes, disease causes disease. So it's like, get unwinding and having that stress outlet. You can find you're going to eat more during the Taurus transits. And that's one thing I've already noticed happening yet again. And I've always warned my clientele in relation to Taurus placements. It's very Venusian. So it will be a cheesecake or maybe some caviar, or it could be overindulgence and pacifiers. Really reviewing that and being aware of what you're utilizing to deal with your stress. So that you can navigate that situation. It's not that it's a negative transit, it's that it's a side effect of a Venusian energy, and especially because Jupiter is going to be entering the house, there can be for a lot of you subjects to do with marriage, subjects to do with a joint finances and where it's going. And this is going to come up later in the year yet again. So we still have that signature of the previous eclipse. We're still working through those dynamics this month, and it will be over the next 6 months that you will be reworking these things. But I definitely feel those of you that are feminines, really caring for your wellness. Your cycles may be a little bit heavier in the first 2 weeks. I also feel there could be changes really happening within your body where you're needing to address them. This can be bones and teeth. It could be mobility. It can be the routines and the foods that you eat. You can be really reviewing. Now, use by dates on foods. Definitely look at, especially relating to meat and anything food and produce. There can be a bit of a delay. There can be some recalls happening. So making sure that your surface area, is really clean, checking the use by dates, going the traditional route and smelling the food, and really keeping that surface clean and really listening to your body of what it's requiring. We may this month need extra fluid. And also, if you can care for your throat chakra, headaches could be possible. So not going to extremes where you drink caffeine and then you drop the caffeine, just doing things very gradually, because those situations within your chakra system can pop off. If you do want a private booking, you can go to the website. Otherwise, I will see you for your next month's update. Take care, beautifuls, and I wish you the very best.